I think that every creative has that one project that they'll never forget. Not because it was their best work, but because it basically changed how they work completely. For me, it started with one client, and at that time, I thought that the story was about losing files and hard drive failure. And now looking back, it really wasn't. It was pretty much everything I didn't know about running a creative business. It was ignoring the little warning signs, the little red flags, before I ever even booked the project. So this isn't really a story about a difficult client, because we all have those and they always happen. This is more a story about all the mistakes that I made before she even hired me. If you're a photographer, a videographer, a designer, or honestly anyone building a creative business, you will probably have your own version of this story one day, or you maybe already have it. A project that keeps you awake at night. One that makes you question your work, your confidence, or even if you are really cut out for this. So a few weeks ago, I experienced exactly that, and here's what happened really quickly. I was working with a brand client, and one of my hard drives failed, so part of the project was lost.
Okay.
And then what followed was weeks of difficult conversations, refund requests, legal questions, and a lot of self-doubt as well. I have to admit that. So at first, I thought that I had a client problem. Then I thought that I had a hard drive problem. And then eventually, I realized that I really had systems problem. Honestly, this project really changed completely how I choose my clients, how I communicate, how I store my work, big one, how I set boundaries, and even how I see professionalism, honestly. So instead of telling you the story chronologically, correct me if it's the wrong word, I decided to share with you 6 lessons that really completely changed how I run my business. Lesson number 1, great businesses are built even before the project begins. Oh my god, this dog. Hi. Oh my god, those sounds. So when everything happened, it was chaos. I was blaming it on the hard drive. I was like, it's the hard drive's fault. And then, honestly, after a few weeks thinking and torturing myself about this whole situation, I realized that my mistake happened long before I even picked up the camera. The inquiry. Okay, so I think that a lot of times we tend to think and treat the inquiry moment as if it was the moment to convince the person to hire us. And now I really see it differently. Like, I see it more like a first interview thing. And honestly, it's not just a first interview just for the client, it's also for me. Now, I realized also that I'm not trying to book every project. I'm not trying to have every client. I'm really trying to build a business with the right people, with the right clients. Now, the discovery call. So this is a big one for me. So I asked questions about the project, and I just didn't really ask the right questions about the person. For example, how they usually communicate. What does success look like to them? How they worked with creatives before. What are they most worried about? And have they had a bad experience before? Because honestly, they were little signs. They were really red flags. I remember when I was talking with her, not even really just in the inquiry before the discovery call, there were signs. During the call, there were signs as well. Like, for example, questions about lowering my price, comparisons with other photographers and videographers that would charge less for the same type of work, like negotiating pretty much almost everything, really. And at the time, I ignored all of these red flags because honestly, I wanted to work. I have to be honest. Like, when you start your business, I am not comfortable enough. I'm not in that situation yet that I have the freedom to say no to every project and be like, no, this doesn't fit with me, and bye. I prefer to lose that opportunity now looking back rather than taking it and then you end up losing way more. But then at the end, I wouldn't learn all of these lessons. So I don't think that every client that negotiates is a bad client. I just feel like how they behave before the project, when the inquiry, the discovery call, This is literally how they will behave during the whole project until the delivery day. Like, it reflects how they are, how they do business, how they treat people, how they hire, how they communicate. It really describes everything. So now I ask more questions, knowing the person, not only just the project that she's looking for or that the client is looking for, but really knowing the person. I'm less afraid of saying no, and choosing the right clients is also a huge part of running your creative business. Okay, now the proposal. I used to think the proposal was about the price. And now I think it's about expectations. The proposal should include every questions the client might have before they ask it. What's included, what's not, how you communicate, what happens if something goes wrong or if unexpected things happen. Okay, let's put it this way. Every unanswered questions will lead to assumptions, and assumptions are where misunderstandings begin. Okay, so I like to think of a proposal as a map. When you start a road trip, you don't just want to know where you're going, the destination. You want to know which road you're taking. You want to know how long it's going to take, this road, or what happens when you hit traffic. A good proposal now, I think of it like that. It does exactly that. It doesn't just tell the client where you're going. It tells them and it shows them how the journey is going to look like. So now contract. For a long time, I thought that contracts, I was really scared of them. I thought that you have them because you expect conflict, but honestly, now I really don't see it like that anymore at all. It might sound silly for some of you, but now everyone deserves clarity. That's how I see it now. So I like to think of a contract like wearing a seatbelt. You don't wear a seatbelt because you know or you expect to have an accident. You wear it because you hope that you will never need it. I read a phrase not long ago and I had to write it down. So remember this. The best contracts are the ones that you're never gonna have to look at again. Now, last part of this little timeline of the lesson 1, the delivery. So the delivery, I used to think it was the moment that I just send out the gallery and here it is. And now I really think of this in a different way. The delivery starts the moment you explain how the delivery is going to happen. When they'll hear from you, how they will receive it, when they will receive it, how many revisions are included, how long the process will take. Approximately, like a range, something. I realize that clients are not just waiting for photos and videos in my case, because I'm a videographer and a photographer. They're waiting to know what's happening. They're waiting for certainty. And one thing that I learned is that uncertainty creates anxiety and clarity creates confidence, 100%. Because in the end, I feel like delivery is not just about handing over the work. It's really about making sure that the last chapter, like the ending chapter with your client, feels just as intentional as the first. So when I look at this timeline that I just shared with you now, I don't see 6 steps. I see 6 opportunities to build trust, because now I feel like trust is not built when everything goes perfectly. It's created long before anything goes even wrong. Once that trust exists, the next challenge is to know where generosity ends and where your boundaries begin. This brings us to lesson 2. Boundaries are acts of kindness. So this is your client, this is your business. If the boundaries are not there, it's chaos. I'm telling you, creative businesses, we need to stop doing that. Going above and beyond doesn't always make a happy client. It doesn't mean generosity either. It creates unclear expectation, really. And this lesson was probably, honestly, the hardest one. I know I say this every time, because I've always believed that giving more means, oh, my client is gonna be happy. In this particular project, when we talked about it, she was also asking for 24 hours previews. She asked for like 10 edited photos as previews within 24 hours. I sent 60. with 4 reels. I stayed extra hours the first and the second day, extra editing, extra everything. And let me tell you something, people don't appreciate what wasn't promised. They appreciate what was delivered. Literally. I wasn't really creating value, I was removing clarity. And when people don't know where the boundaries are, they stop knowing what's included. And honestly, today, I like that over-delivery sense, but I want to do it a different way. I still deeply care about my clients and treating them well, giving them that extra thing, but not extra hours, not extra editing. I really try to express that through thoughtfulness, not by constantly giving more. Lesson 3, never make emotional decisions inside emotional situations. Another big mistake for me. That was the hardest moment for me because that's exactly when I realized that part of the project was lost. Worst feeling on earth. If you're a creative business, not fun. So what did I do? I panicked. I shared too much. I sent an audio half crying. I apologized again and again and again. I explained everything. It was chaos. And now looking back, like I don't think I gave myself enough time to think, reflect, pause, breathe, think of something, and then act, then do something, then talk to the client. When we're scared, because I was really scared because that never really happened to me. And when we're scared, we always believe that responding fast, like right away, is the right thing to do, or it's being professional for us. Like, I'm gonna let her know right away. No, don't do that. Don't do like me. It was chaos. It was bad. No. Sometimes professionalism, and I need to learn this big lesson, it's learning when to slow down. So now when I receive a difficult email, I don't answer right away. I try to read it. I take a step back. I breathe. I go for a walk, and then I come back and I read it again. And I write in my journal, I reflect, I try to remove that emotional part. I sleep on it even if I want to answer the same day. You don't have to answer the same day. You can sleep on it. The person's not going to die because you answered the next day. So that's something that I will remember. Pause, think, write, review, and then answer and send the answer. By the way, I wanted to share that I have created and put together the exact framework that I wish I had before, with all of the questions that I now ask before booking any client, any project. It's completely free. You can download it. There is a link, Canva, in the description of this video. It's completely free. You can download it and you can use it whenever you want. It's my little gift for you. Okay, so now lesson 4, systems protect creativity. Ironically, the hard drive was still a lesson. It was. I said that it wasn't the problem, but it's still part of the problem. For weeks, I blamed the hard drive. But honestly, hard drives fail. Computers crash, memory cards corrupt. Technology is surprisingly not perfect. The real question is not really, is anything gonna go wrong? Because chances are, yes. The actual question is, are you really prepared when it does? Because I'm sorry to tell you, but it will go wrong at some point. Yes. This experience really changed the way I organize my work, how I use my backups. I don't ever format my memory cards until the project is fully validated, delivered. Yes, that was my mistake. I had never done that before. I did it, lesson learned, never again. Honestly, I have a better workflow, not because I expect things to go wrong every time, but because I know that eventually there's gonna be one day that it does go wrong, because it happens. That's how life works. Good systems, they don't eliminate mistakes, but they make them more survivable. I used to think that creativity was about inspiration, and now I see it kind of like building a house. Everyone notices the beautiful house, the beautiful architecture, but nobody really notices or pays attention to the foundations until something starts to crack. So your systems are the foundations of your creative business. Clients don't see them, but they will feel them. I promise. Lesson 5 now, really important as well. Confidence means acting from your values, not your fear. So at some point, I seriously thought of giving all the money back. I really did. Not because I believed it was fair, but because I was scared. I was scared that the client was going to talk bad about me, leaving a bad review, damaging my reputation. Scared of people talking badly about my business that I put so much hard time, work, and love into. And mostly scared of conflict. I was like, but honestly, fear has a funny way of disguising itself as professionalism. Like it tells you that you're protecting your peace, that you're doing the right thing, but sometimes you're not really protecting the relationship. You're just protecting yourself from discomfort. I asked myself one question. If I wasn't afraid, what decision would be fair right now? Just think of it like that. Remove the fear aspect of it and this whole thing, because eventually you're always, I mean, every creative business, every businesses have at least one bad review, one client that is just one of those clients that was your lesson. So remove that aspect of fear. And honestly, if you weren't scared, is what's happening fair? What's the decision? What decision would be fair? That question changed everything, because in my case, I realized that refunding a project that was largely delivered and the content and the whatever I delivered was still used, shared, posted. So that refunding is not a decision based on values. It was completely based on fear. Like, if I don't refund this woman, she's gonna damage so much of my reputation. I'm so scared of it. That's what I thought. And honestly, now that I think of it, I don't want fear to run my business. Anyone can make good decisions when everything goes well. The real test comes when you're under pressure, you're tired, you're scared, someone threatens your reputation, when you just want the situation to completely just disappear and have peace of mind and just move on. That's when you discover whether your business is built on values or on fear. And it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. I had delivered, to give you a little bit of context, I had delivered more than 60% of the overall project, knowing that I had stayed extra hours, extra editing, extra photos as well. So I sent her 4 reels. She was missing around 6 more. So she was missing less than half of the project, which is still a big part. She had only paid me half of the project. So the fair decision here would be to be like, I'm not charging you the other half. Let's keep it like that. I gave you more than half of the project. I delivered it. You loved it. You're using it, posting it, sharing it. That's the right thing to do. She didn't like that, but that's another thing. Lesson 6, last one. Sometimes you lose a client. So that's what happened to me. And honestly, every difficult client leaves you with a better business. If I want to be completely honest, if I could erase this project and this whole situation, I don't think I would, to be honest with you, because I don't just have a story now, but I really changed the way I handle my business, how I run my business. It really changed everything. It really made me a better business owner. It changed how I choose my clients, how I communicate with them, how I organize my work, how I define professionalism. And most importantly, I think it also changed what I believe good service looked like. Sometimes growth comes from successful projects, but I've learned honestly that growth often comes from the project that we would rather forget. Those that are like, it was too hard to go through, trauma. So yes, sometimes you lose a client, but you gain standard. The business became stronger. As storytellers, because that's me, I'm a videographer, filmmaker, photographer, we love when stories just go well, when everything works out. But honestly, the stories that really stay with us are the stories where the main character, the person in the story changes. Looking back, I don't think the main character of the story was my client. it was really me, because this wasn't really a story about losing files or my hard drive failure. This was a story about me becoming the business owner that I want to be. So I do not wish difficult situations like that to everyone, but honestly, a little bit, because I don't think I would be the same business owner if I hadn't gone through that. Sometimes the project that shake your confidence end up building your standards. It's so easy to make a decision out of fear when a client uses pressure, threatens to talk bad about you or damage your reputation. It's so easy to be scared and make a decision just to have peace of mind and react out of fear. It's so important to know how to slow down, go back to your contract, document everything, and respond professionally rather than emotionally, because that makes everything worse. I realized that difficult clients are not always just difficult people. Sometimes they are mirrors. They show us where our systems are weak, where we should improve, where our communication is not clear, which questions we should have asked, where our boundaries need strengthening. And honestly, as painful as those projects can be, they often become the ones that shape us the most. So if you're also going through something similar, or if you went through something similar, or maybe you are gonna go through something similar, and that's when you're gonna look back at my video. I hope this reminds you that one difficult project or client, it doesn't define your career, first of all, but the way you respond to it, it might define the business that you will build in the next months and years. This week, instead of asking yourself whether this project was successful, maybe ask yourself what system it exposed. Every client points out the process that can be improved. The project will end at some point. However hard this is, just know that the project will come to an end, but the lesson will become part of the business you build next from now on. If you learn the lesson, if you see it, if you acknowledge it, and you go from there, you won't be the same. Every project, all of those situations, they serve to make you a better business owner, to improve your business, improve your systems, improve everything. And again, I repeat myself, but I have put in the description the exact framework that I use and that I wish I had before, with pretty much all of the questions that I now ask my clients before the project is even booked. You can download it for free. It's completely free. You don't even have to put your email address, nothing. You just click on the link and you have it. It's in the description, and it's called the Creative Client Framework. It's free, remember. Bye.